Right, I think that we are officially here. I said in the title that we're going to do it in 10 minutes or less. I don't know if we're going to get it done in 10 minutes or less, but I do quickly want to talk about where I think Bitcoin might be going long term. I actually had a very long phone call with Dracul the other day, and we were able to confirm a few things. So without further ado, we will turn this into a video. So if you're not able to watch it live, it's okay. You don't need to be able to watch it live. Because we're going to make it into an awesome little video. I was looking down the timeline. And it looks a lot like people are just guessing. They don't really know what's going to happen. They're a little bit scared. The markets are going up. They're going down. They think it might go to Valhalla. They think it might be over. There's just a lot of opinions, like a lot of thoughts. And I get why that is. I get why that is. I will say I do kind of like Litecoin. Litecoin is not a bad call here by Crash. I'm gonna sidetrack ourselves here and just take a look at what Litecoin's doing. Litecoin at 107. I had a long in here. For those of you who recall this one here, from around, what is this, 90 or so. We got in here on stream. Someone mentioned Litecoin to us, and we were able to get in. We went down a little bit and we came back up. So I'm no longer in this. You can see we're not in this trade right now. But we were able to make a little bit of money on Litecoin. So I do think Litecoin is not a bad idea overall for anyone who's thinking, Litecoin is a potential buy. I will say this October 10th disaster caused a lot of problems for a lot of people. So without further ado, though, let's talk. Let's talk the main event, the one that everyone wants to know about, Bitcoin. Again, I was scrolling down the timeline. My ADHD kicked in. I saw Crash talking about Litecoin. I got excited. Wanted to share that with you guys. But if you take a look, there's no way Melania pumps. Just please stop that right now. But if you look down the timeline, there's a lot of just frenetic energy. No one really knows what's about to happen. No one really cares what's about to happen. Everyone just has an opinion. So let's look. Let's take a look together at what is actually going to happen with Bitcoin. I think it's pretty simple. We're on the 1 week time frame, Bitcoin USD. And we have our Gaussian channel up here live. Here's what I'm looking at. A very long time frame. So very long time frame obviously is beneficial for us all, especially when we're trying to understand and look at exactly where we think things are going. Where are we in the cycle, right? And I think that we have a pretty clear, nice little, let's go here. From the top of 2021 to around the top that was in 2024. We did kind of like in this, if you remember this market structure that we got from the 2021 bull run, we actually had more of this look, right? We had kind of a double top before we entered this time period. But what I'm seeing here is a very beautiful cup and handle right here. And for those of you who don't know, a cup and handle, and this is a really important structure when you're talking about technical analysis. A cup and handle is something where you have something like this, right? Where you have a nice cup. Think of a coffee cup. You can pour water into this. And then a handle where there's a lot of accumulation. And what it is it's a very bullish pattern that will continue that bullish trend once you break out of the handle. And so we have this cup and handle that really catapults us into this stretch here. And again, these candles are 1 week candles. So you can talk all day. You see these candles that are 1 week long. There's a lot of information here. It's not just 5-minute candles or 1 second candles. These are 1 week candles. So you have this cup, you have this handle. And then what I want to call your attention to is this move here. I want to call your attention to these moves here. I'm going to draw them at first. Shout out to Antoine. Thanks for reposting the stream. Holds community always live and doing it well. So we have one kind of arc here, if you call it. We have another arc here. And this is what I think really tells us where we are going. I think this is what tells us where we're actually about to go. So generally when this happens, when you have 1, 2, there's usually a third. These don't usually come in just groups of 2. They usually come in in thirds. So I want to get this a little bit more accurate. Again, you don't have to be precise necessarily with your drawings here. You can kind of you can kind of play with them a little bit. You can kind of play with them just a little bit, but you have one arc here. It's not really doing what I want. So I'm going to go back to drawing, but you're dealing with a lot of imperfect information. So trying to dial in and make imperfect information perfect is a fool's errand. It just doesn't happen. Not at least as often as you would like for it to happen. So I'm going to draw this one here. Then I'm going to draw this one here. And I'm going to try to continue what a third view of this would look like. And that's probably a little bit too low. I want to try and get it a little bit better for you guys, because that's going to tell us where we're going next. So I want to get a curve here. Does this curve work? Maybe this one will work. Other way. The curve's going the wrong way. Okay, there we go. We'll do this. And we'll just duplicate this one. There we go. So where does this have us going and when? So this has us going to around 152.91, which makes sense, right? This Gaussian channel really is looking up. We've tested the Gaussian channel a few times on the weekly, but we haven't ever entered into it. We wicked into it, but we haven't gone into it yet. And the parabola that we're looking at here, it perks up to around 153-ish, 152, 153-ish Bitcoin, and then it starts to come down again. So my expectation is that we're going to see this Gaussian channel kind of continue up along this way. And this tells us that in April of 2026, call it April, May, June timeframe of 2026, it tells us that we are going to be entering into the very peak of this next leg, whatever that leg is. Some people think we're in a super cycle and it'll never end. Maybe that's true. But what I see here is that we are going to have, let's see how many days this is. Just trying to check out how many days we have here. Oh, there we go. There we go. So from today, we have about 225 days to really follow this Gaussian channel, and that looks like a peak of 152. Now, there might be some shenanigans before then, and there might be some daily and hourly closes that peak into this Gaussian channel, but this is where I think Bitcoin's going. I'm not going to run this forever. I'm not going to run this long. I'll make a video about it. I'll kind of clean up and shorten it so that people can be aware. But this is what I see. I see us going up. I see us going up to peaking around 150 to 152 in April to May to June. Around 225 days, we'll bounce back off this Gaussian channel around 130. And then it's anyone's guess, right? The third time that we hit this line, you never know what could happen. So if we enter the Gaussian channel, that's what you're looking for, especially if you cross over this middle part of the Gaussian channel. That's a pretty clear signal that we may want to reevaluate this. But for now, this is the structure that I see, and that's what I'm monitoring very regularly. So I think that we could potentially bounce from here. I know there's some people that might think that that's not going to happen, but this is what I'm looking at. The 1 week on Bitcoin, looking at the high from November of 21 all the way over to the high in March of 24. I think we have a nice cup and handle pattern. And then we have, of course, 1, 2, and 3 jumps. I don't know where this jump went here, but you know what I'm talking about. There's that jump there. So anyways, you guys, thanks so much for joining in. We did it in, how many minutes was that? We did it in 9 minutes and 5 seconds. Even better than 10 minutes. So quick video. Again, I'll make another video.